In 2 weeks' time, we'll be jumping into some new content for Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ. From our first raid in Modern Warfare 2 to new weapons, a map, new operators, and perhaps even more, which we'll discuss here in the next few days or so, we'll have a handful of new content to play around with and discuss. But today, I want to take a look at a more technical side of things, examine a few coming changes that we know of in the next update. Whether that update now is coming before the launch of Season 1 Reloaded or is coming as of that title update on the 14th, that is yet to be seen. But we have a handful of things detailed, communicated by Raven, Treyarch, and Infinity Ward about the experiences that we have across the board. So today, I wanted to keep you in the loop with some of the things you can expect to see in the next update. As we go along, drop your thoughts below. What changes are you currently looking forward to seeing? Or oppositely, if you don't see them listed, let me know something you're hoping to see. If you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ as we chase down 600,000 subscribers. I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, this video is brought to you in part by my friends at ApexGamingPCs, but more on them in a bit. For now, let's discuss these coming changes to Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ. Firstly, to start, this information can be sourced from the Trello Boards for both Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2, these being updated every so often, but it's public information, so you can go and check those out. I'll leave the links down there in the description below if you guys want to check them out for yourself. But for Modern Warfare 2, Infinity Ward has not been the best in terms of communicating some of the stuff here that we've seen for Modern Warfare 2, both some updates and issues elsewhere, but we ended up getting a few things that are definitely some bigger ones here for Modern Warfare 2 overall. Now, one of the biggest ones here is an upcoming fix for crashing issues. Now, this is something that we did actually just see something tweeted by Beanox a couple of days ago where they talked about the PC port overall, but it's gotten to the point where the main Call of Duty account has actually tweeted about it, not any studio or developer Twitter that it's usually relegated to and coming from. This instead was something that was the full Call of Duty brand was like, hey, we know we have some crashing issues, we're working on it, we'll have an update here coming soon. So that's something that it's at least been acknowledged on a much larger scale as well, and so therefore, fingers crossed, we can actually get an update that does bring about at least most of the crashing issues being taken care of, if not all of them, because the most recent update helped in some regard, but also not so much. We also have listed on this Trello board fixes for the dev errors, both in public matches and in private matches. That's something that a lot of private matches are still crashing if you just try and set one up. So if you're someone that likes to test stuff out in private matches, myself, I know that platinum guide we put on the channel here this past week, that took me way longer than it should have because I just could not enter into any game. I'd start to boot up a game and it would just crash on me. Beyond stability issues here that are being worked on for Modern Warfare 2, changing attachments mid-kill cam affects frame rate. That's something that should be adjusted as of the next update as well. Editing loadouts should be available for these CDL mosh pits. The suppressors should be fixed, in which it should allow audio for all players, not just the one player that ends up having it on their weapon. And finally, laser attachments should be re-enabled here in the upcoming update, as they were disabled in third person due to issues that were created by them. Now, on the Warzone side of things, that's where we end up getting a decent more that we can dive into for global issues, battle royale issues, and DMZ issues. Now, we saw that the bomb drone field upgrade was recently disabled due to bugs that it created, though there wasn't any specification on what that actually was, whether or not it's a glitch they don't want people to be able to reproduce, so they left it as a vague mention of it, or if it's just something that is more minor but they need to take care of. The bomb drone has been disabled and should be re-enabled as of the next update. Operator executions are still being investigated, where there's preventions on operator executions being equipped. The play again button is still disabled, but should hopefully be fixed out in the next update after an issue with stability was discovered around that. For Battle Royale in particular, Battle Rage and Dead Silence has actually been both removed from the Warzone experience, which is kind of big. Dead Silence is, of course, something that is a very helpful field upgrade in a lot of situations if you come across it. Personally, I don't think that I find it a whole ton, but whenever I were to find it, it is very helpful in taking close quarters engagements. So to have that and Battle Rage both entirely taken out of the game temporarily, that's a big deal. So those should, in theory, be fixed out by the next update, especially if it is something that ends up coming with Season 1 Reloaded, but that's a change up on deck as well. Now, one other weird thing with Battle Royale is that the flash grenade, stun grenades, stim, shock stick, smoke grenade, and suppression mines, the XP yields that those granted in-game in Battle Royale has actually been disabled. So you're not going to get any XP bonuses for using those certain items, whereas beforehand you'd be able to. Certainly an odd one. Beyond that, we end up seeing that there's going to be an issue for the stuck nuke problem, where players get stuck attempting to activate the nuke in that Champions Quest challenge, one of the toughest, if not the toughest challenge we've ever seen in a Warzone experience. This is something that you go and attempt it, you just kind of get screwed over. So that's something that obviously needs to be taken care of and should be with the next update. In terms of talking about the nuke, while it's not necessarily mentioned, one big thing that I do hope is just, of course, to see further stability stability things, because I quite literally saw a team in one of my games trying to do the nuke, and one of the teammates of that squad, the one carrying the item of beryllium, the one that has a tracking device on it that gives you that sort of most wanted effect, but in real time as opposed to updating every 3-4 seconds or so. I watched this guy crash. He of course couldn't complete it, and then his team also couldn't as well. So fingers crossed that stability is something that's worked out and figured out, so that players that are attempting this can actually make it through the challenge, or at least make it to end game where they have to face the entire lobby, not necessarily just the game itself. There should be a fix for the airstrike kill streak coming in, where if a player attempts to use that kill streak right as they finish reloading, their HUD will entirely disappear. There should be a gulag respawning issue fixed out, where once you're respawning from the gulag, you'll just be miles and miles away from your teammates. That's something that's been an issue since the 23rd and is still being investigated. The most wanted contract is still disabled for issues that it created, as far as I'm aware, and they're still investigating inconsistencies with the after action report. On the DMZ side of things, the radiation blocker is being investigated and should have a fix upcoming, where using a radiation blocker and plating at the same time will disable the ability to interact with anything throughout the entire match, so quite literally just making you a standing NPC essentially. And the DMZ heli mission should have a fix where objectives that require eliminating reinforced helicopters are not properly tracking. So on that front, there's quite a bit of upcoming changes with the next update, and some ones that honestly, if you ask me, are a little bit more important than some of the ones that we saw within Modern Warfare 2. Some more game-breaking stuff, quite literally, on top of the further crashing and stability stuff that we're hoping to see fixed out that we mentioned in that Modern Warfare 2 experience. Now, there's a few more things that I'd like to add that I would like to see and hope to see out of the next update. Before we jump into that, I want to take a quick second and let you know about today's sponsor, ApexGamingPCs, a performance-based build company that, following the sales for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you can still pick up some great deals here on their site if you're looking to upgrade any hardware or get something for yourself, or maybe something for the gamer that you know that's looking for an upgrade with the holidays rolling around. Linked below are a line of 3 baseline PCs they've built for the community, all of which can be fully customized to however you see fit. But if you're interested, code Espresso can save you a few $100 off your entire order. Check them out if you're interested, but for now, back to the regularly scheduled content. So let's talk about these things that I would like to see. Now, I'm surely going to miss a ton of things here, but one that has never made sense to me, that on the multiplayer side of things here for Modern Warfare 2, I'd like to see something that, while it's minor, I'd still want to see the bonus and ultimate perks and kill cams. That's something that I've noticed as of recently, that you still can't see those now a month and a half after the launch of the game. Oftentimes I'll die to a guy who wasn't on a UAV that I called, which is usually a dead giveaway of Ghost, but the way that the UAV works this year, it's not entirely accurate. So I don't know if it's just me misreading a situation or if it's just somebody that was genuinely hidden. Additionally, I'd also like to see some changes to allow for the M13B and what will then be the Chimera at mid-season to have multiplayer and Warzone challenges and not be specific just to DMZ. Fingers crossed it doesn't come to that, and for the M13B that it's released from that exclusivity of DMZ. I can't say that I've noticed too many weapons needing it just because the TTK is so fast, but I'd also imagine we see additional weapon tuning as we saw with Season 1's initial update. They'll always be collecting data and moving forward with that, so I'd expect some weapon tuning as well. I personally would love to see some spawn adjustments. I'm debating on even putting up sort of meme video here on the channel or just over on Twitter that's a compilation of my absolutely abysmal spawns that I get. And I say that genuinely, that I get them in absurd amounts, both 6v6 and ground war. Though honestly, I'd wager ground war spawns might actually be worse. I can't tell you how many times I've spawned on my flag, not even a teammate. I fully recognize that when you spawn on a squad mate here, you're taking that risk of getting into any action that they're in immediately. But when you spawn on a flag that your team owns, the logic definitely needs to be adjusted further. The amount of times that I've either spawned at a nearly completely different flag, that I'll spawn in a completely open, let's say like C flag on Saeed, that side street that's just absolutely no cover, and then get blasted immediately by a tank, or that I'll spawn right next to somebody or into gunfire. It's kind of absurd how many clips I have here of this. I'd love to see the logic adjusted here with the next update, especially if it's the Season 1 Reloaded update, because I don't know that we've seen any sort of logic updates to spawn since the beta, and I definitely think it's needed. Obviously, I'm hoping to see some further stability stuff as well. We had an update again as of recently, but it still needs some adjusting here. I'm crashing maybe even more than I was before this update went out a couple of days ago, so fingers crossed that larger fix is inbound. On the Warzone side of things, I'd love to see some quality of life changes, really. There's still plenty of stuff in Al Mazrah myself, and probably you and many others are learning, exploring, and all. So in terms of overall content and that aspect of it, I don't think we're gonna get too much in terms of a major content update for Warzone, though I'd love to be wrong. Always love to explore new stuff and have new stuff to play around with, but I'd love to see some more quality of life things overall than anything else. Running while plating, in-game UI changes, similar to how we left it maybe with Warzone 1, where there's a ton of information on who in your team has what, and things like that, where Warzone 1, I think, especially in the last year of Warzone 1, made some great strides for the quality of life and interfacing, and then Infinity Ward was just kind of like, nah, we're not going to do any of that. So fingers crossed we get some stuff here introduced that makes, again, some quality of life changes a bit of a priority here at this. On the DMZ side of things, I'd like to see more extraction points first and foremost added to the map. There's plenty of games where there's only like 2-3 max that you'll end up seeing and having the opportunity for, so I'd like to see that adjusted where there's a couple of more where maybe you're not going to see so many teams camping exfil locations. So fingers crossed on that, but that's some of my hopes here for the upcoming Season 1 Reloaded update, or potentially even sooner if they decide to release an update before then. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. Just wanted to fill you guys in on some of the known issues and bugs that should hopefully have some changes here coming in the next update, but also some stuff that I'm crossing my fingers here and hopeful we'll see introduced sooner rather than later. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. So I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What are you guys looking forward to here in regards to upcoming updates, or potentially what you could see on the horizon for changes with Warzone 2, DMZ, and Modern Warfare 2? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and anything COD related. For now though, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.